Hello and welcome to another An Old Man Watches, and today I'm going to be talking about Bathory from 2008. And before I talk about the film, I need to talk about the real-life historical Elizabeth Bathory. She was a Hungarian noblewoman and landowner who lived in the late 16th and early 17th century. And in 1610, she was accused of torturing and killing hundreds of girls and women at her estate. In later years, these accusations were embellished with claims that she bathed in the blood of virgins to retain her youth, and that she was a vampire. To this day, she's the subject of infamy in Hungary, though there is a wider controversy these days, obviously, as to whether she actually committed the murders of which she was accused. After all, she was a wealthy Protestant widow in a staunchly Catholic country, and her conviction would have led to her estates being seized and lots of people making bank, basically. On top of that, much of the evidence against her was hearsay. It was I heard that she did from some other person rather than I saw her do, and or elicited by torture. So all a bit sus. On the other hand, one of her first accusers was a Lutheran minister, so she was a Calvinist, not a Lutheran, so they could have still been sectarian. So the truth of Elizabeth Bathory's crimes and whether or not they actually happened, I don't know, and is not the subject of this video, but I wanted to give you that context because obviously one of the things this movie needs to do, or any movie about Countess Bathory needs to do, is make a choice about who Elizabeth Bathory was. Was she a murderer? Was she an actual vampire? Was she an innocent woman wronged by prejudice and greed? Ultimately, you need to pick a story and you need to tell it. Which brings me to my first topic. False advertising. Okay, so the gold standard of misleading movie ad campaigns is probably today and ever since it came out, and probably for a long time to come, A Bridge to Terabithia, which had trailers that promised magical adventure hijinks in the style of early Harry Potter, and instead the actual movie is a somber musing on mortality and how someone's death affects those around them. Big difference between what you were promised and what you got. This film doesn't quite hit that, but it is a shot for the silver medal. So you look at this, this DVD cover. Warrior, tyrant, lover, vampire, the Countess of Blood. The advertising is all in on Elizabeth Bathory being a wicked and debauched figure, who is and is very much selling a gothic horror movie, probably with plenty of sleazy raunch and blood. That's the movie that this image is giving to you. The actual film is all in for the opposite. It portrays Elizabeth Bathory as a philanthropic medical pioneer, an excellent swordsman, and just a generally all-round amazing person who is brought down by petty greed and jealousy. Now, given how extreme those two versions of the truth, quote-unquote, are, I'm sure that the actual truth lies somewhere in the middle. But that's not relevant for the film. What's relevant for the film is that the film is being marketed in a totally different way, as a totally different product than what was actually made, and it's never going to find its audience. Anyone who goes into this film because they want a sleazy gothic horror is going to be disappointed with the movie, and anyone who wants a relatively thoughtful treatment of the possibility that Elizabeth Bathory was an innocent person isn't going to watch it based on the advertising. It's a counterproductive strategy. I don't understand it. But it's what they did. Now, as much as the advertised movie and the actual movie don't agree about what they are, the film itself does seem to have some identity issues. Much of it feels like you're watching a somber historical drama, like A Man for All Seasons. And you'd expect it to be a somber historical drama given the narrative that it's taking of Elizabeth Bathory as an innocent woman wronged. So much of it feels like a somber historical drama, like A Man for All Seasons. But then, suddenly bits of Hudson Hawk show up, tonally speaking. And for those who don't maybe know those movies as well as I do, A Man for All Seasons is a film which is basically all about Sir Thomas More's slow journey to disgrace and execution at the hands of King Henry VIII because he refused to recant his religious beliefs. Whereas Hudson Hawk is a quirky action comedy that flopped on release, but is today something of a cult favourite. They're very, very different movies, and they don't work together, and it's really strange to see bits that feel like they came out of Hudson Hawk turn up in a movie that is mostly very non-quirky and not at all an action comedy. So yeah, that's the second thing I'm talking about. And the final thing is a very simple thing. Too long. The movie is too long. It runs 2 hours and 20 minutes, and in a world with ever more bloated Peter Jackson films in it, that might not seem all that long, but it's a good 30 minutes too long for the actual story here. There's a lot of tedious filler in this movie that could have been cut in the post-production stage, should have been cut in the post-production stage. They should have tightened this up a lot. A leaner, pacier telling the story would help it immensely. And you could start by cutting all the bits that feel like they come from a different film. You know, like, it wouldn't be that hard to do, and you'd get a better movie out of it. So yeah, that's the three things, basically, that caused this movie to fail. Or the three top things that caused this movie to fail, in my opinion. So, that was Bathory 2008. What are we talking about next time? Well, we're going to talk about something that I really enjoy, and that I've seen other people describe as, one of the best movies you've never seen. Though I have seen it, obviously. Which is Streets of Fire from 1984, a rock and roll fable. I adore this silly, silly movie, and I'm looking forward to talking about it, so hopefully you'll join me for that. In the meantime, thanks for watching this video. Catch you next time.